Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Disney Done Differently. So, we're getting close to that holiday season. Next week is Thanksgiving. Got a great episode coming out for you next week. First, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you very much. We've hit 250 subscribers in the short time that this channel's been alive. And it's all done because of you. I appreciate it very much. And if this is the first time you're watching it, hit that subscribe and like button. I appreciate it. So today, as we get closer, something simple. Whispering Canyon. Favorite. Love the resort over at Copper Creek, or the three other names that they want to use for the different resort that it is. But Whispering Canyon Cafe, yes, while they have an amazing breakfast and lots of fun with you can move the ketchups back and forth, and the screaming and the interaction with the servers, which is by far entertainment within itself. A lot of people don't know they have an apple pie. It's easy, the exact recipe. We're gonna do it a little different, but if you follow this recipe, you can make this next week for Thanksgiving. Eyes closed, easy, one shot. Let's go. I wasn't going to show this part. I mean, I cut up the apples, I peeled and diced up the apples. But then as I was going through it, I said, you know what, I wonder if I do this the traditional way and other people know it. I just use a regular vegetable peeler, right? Peel all the skins, get as much as you can off. But then slice your apple in half, melon baller, right? I think a lot of people know this, but maybe one or two that don't, can save you a lot of time. Pop out the center of the melon baller there. Use the little guy in the back for the corners, or the tops and bottoms, I should say. I mean, this saves so much time. It's funny because I call my mother the gadget freak because she loves to buy things that can do one thing. I refuse to do that. But then, you know, an apple corer and then the apple slicer and all those things. Simple, easy. Just cut your apples into cubes. For this recipe, we're going to use 6 apples. Now, you read recipes and it says you got to use Granny Smith or Gala apples. I don't like those apples. I like Honeycrisp apples. That's what these are, and that's what we're using today. Why do I like Honeycrisp apples? One, they have a higher sugar content in them. If you notice, I cut these probably about 15-20 minutes ago, and they're not turning brown. Yeah, the stems and everything else is. That's because I introduced, you know, the melon baller to it. But the higher sugar content, you don't need to add lemon or anything else. And that's 6 apples. Hope you enjoyed that little tip. We're going to do something a little different. Let me show you how I get my apples ready for an apple pie. Alright, I'm preheating my oven for 350 degrees. And as you see, I have a pot. Inside the pot is nothing but water. Nothing special, right? Have it on high. I want to bring it to a boil. Reason I want to bring it to the boil is I'm going to add this colander on top of it. Alright? And then with the colander, we're going to take our apples and we're going to steam them. Just going to add some of these apples in there. That's 6 apples. Reserve the bowl, there's nothing wrong with it. So you got your apples sitting over the colander, over the water that's creating steam. It's going to make our apples nice and tender and keep its shape. Something that I like to do. It's a little different. Let's go make something else while this is cooking. Alright, so while the apples are steaming on there, and that's going to be about 10-12 minutes that you're gonna incorporate the apples. You're gonna see it's gonna shrink down. We're gonna make what I call is the batter. So I have so I'm gonna add a half a stick of butter. Room temperature equals a half a cup. I'm gonna take that and then 2/3 of a cup of sugar. I'm gonna mix that together. Now, you could put this in a stand mixer. I'm going to use a regular hand mixer. But what I like to do first is incorporate my butter and sugar just to get it all mixed in together, so I know that the butter is coated, because what we're really going to be doing is adding eggs to this. So, okay, so once I know that they're coated, well, then we'll get the old-fashioned hand beater. Okay, now at this point we're going to add 2 eggs. Okay, so now at this point I'm going to grab 1.5 cups of flour and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So add the baking powder in there. Okay, and then a pinch of salt. They're going to tell you probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon. There you go. And again, just give it a quick mix in this bowl before you incorporate it into that egg batter that we have. And this is going to become thick, right? You got the butter, the sugar, and the eggs in there. So we're going to start with just a little bit at a time. Alright, this is the exact consistency that I'm looking for at this point. And now, our last thing, we're going to add the cream. So we're actually just using 1/4 cup of cream. So again, let's get this going. Absolutely perfect. So you can see we got this nice batter, right? It's all creamed together, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use that. Alright, so we have our apples. They've been steamed down, as you can see. They're nice and tender. Exactly the way I like it inside of an apple pie. Alright folks, we're going to add apple pie spice. Please, do not go to the store and overpay for apple pie spice. What's apple pie spice? Well, it's this ratio, but as much as you want or as little as you want. So I'm using 1/4 teaspoon. All right, so it's 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon, it's a little too much, of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Take those 3 spices, add it back into the water that you just were boiling for the apples, and let that rest of that steam out. You don't have to go buy those candles. But now I got these spices in here. I'm fortunate enough to know an excellent chef that's based out of San Francisco, Chef Sean. He has no clue that I'm talking about him right now. He's a master chef. There's only 200 master chefs in the United States. He's one of them, and I consider him a friend of mine. He mentioned to me, add black pepper. The black pepper actually is going to bring out the flavor of the apples. Again, we're doing it differently. That's why we added it. So a pinch of black pepper, and now we'll mix in all of the spices with our apples so they're coated nicely. Now, I can tell you already, folks, you know, Disney done differently, right? You guys are expecting something different. With a traditional way that you make apple pie. If anyone's seen this way of doing an apple pie, please throw it down in the comments and tell me your ways. People are very particular with apple pie. Do you like it hot? Do you like it cold? I'm going to put that up on the Facebook or Instagram probably. Do we like our apple pie hot or do we like it cold? If it's hot, you can add ice cream. If it's cold, well, you can still add ice cream, but probably add more of whipped cream. Now, okay, these are seasoned beautifully. It smells like a fall candle in here. Fall in Florida, folks. Doesn't happen often. All right, folks, it's assembly time. Store-bought crust. Why? Because I have it. You can use the pie crust that you can roll out and put that over it. You can buy this. You can make pie crust. There's no top to this one. I'm going to show you what I mean. There's going to be a crust, but it's not going to be the traditional. So the first things that we have to do, I want you to take 1/4 of a cup of that batter that we made, and that goes right at the bottom. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to smooth this all the way around. Nothing fancy. Just get it all so that it's even. Alright, you got to be gentle with the store-bought pie crust because, you know, the little corners always break. Annoying. But, okay, so once this is all spread, nice and even, it's good enough. We're going to take our wonderful apples and we're going to fill our apples. This is a 9-inch deep dish pie crust. Get that guy, man. When you put in your apples, don't just dump it in. See how I'm actually going around, seeing the smallest spots. Think about when you're making anything of how you're going to eat it, right? So you want the most even amount of apples throughout each slice. You can control that at this point. Now, you're going to have apples probably left over, and that's fine. How do you prevent that? Cut them smaller. So this is 5 apples probably that I have in here, right? So I had 1 extra apple, I did 6. Adjust the recipe to the way you like it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna load this sucker up. Why? Why not? More apples, more fun. Alright, so now at this point we're gonna take that the rest of that mixture that we made. I'm gonna use the 1/4 cup measuring scoop just to get it so I can get separated dollops, I guess you would call them, so I can put them in different areas. So when I spread this, I actually can go in different directions a lot easier. You know what's the fun part of this one, folks? Never made this before. This is Whispering Canyon's recipe. Yes, I'm doing it a little differently. We have a lot of this. Alright, so let's start to spread this out. Okay, and you're just going to cover your apples. Remember, this is on the bottom. Alright, so now it's nice and smooth. We're fully covered. I want you to take your tin foil. I'm just going to lightly cover it. Lightly. 350 degrees, 40 minutes like this. We're going to take it off, and in another 20 minutes, and we're good. Let's go. Alright, so here we go. Looking beautiful. I'm very happy with the way this came out. It's very hot, so we're going to let it cool down for a little bit. And then, ooh baby. And then we'll move it around. Alright, so it should be cool by now. Patience are a virtue. If I wanted patience, I would have been a doctor. But, let's see. Oh, we're going to cut right into this. Am I going to get that perfect slice? Who knows? It's an apple pie. You're making this for your family on Thanksgiving. I always say, if it tastes great and doesn't look so good, I consider that a win. Cut around the crust, just so I can get an even slice out of it, so it doesn't stick. And we'll try. Whoa. Oh, look at that. Got my plate right here. Oh, look at those apples. Did it fall apart a little bit? Of course it did. Oh, the smell, folks. Look at this guy. That is some apple pie goodness. Look at this crust. This crust came off. It's almost like, I can't even explain it. Well, I'll show you how to fix this. So I'm gonna put this down here real fast. This out of the way. Ooh, it's hot. Okay, so you got your apple pie and fell apart a little bit. You got people that are gonna say something. Well, let's hit this with just a little bit of caramel sauce. And you come in the old faithful 10x sugar. Now, who's got something to say? That looks delicious. Let's try it. Alright, so here we go. We got our wonderful apple pie. Remember, simple couple ingredients, very different. Let's get in here. Oh wow. You know that crust, it's almost like a sugar cookie. Apples are so tender. You don't have that juiciness. You don't have that super glaze that you get with so many apple pies. And folks, it's delicious. It smells like Thanksgiving right now in my kitchen. Make this at home. Have fun with food. And remember, don't do what the gadget queen does. I asked her to drop off the apple core like I was going to use it. Look at this thing. Use the melon baller. Don't buy things like this. But I hope you enjoyed what you saw in this episode. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for the 250 subscribers. We're going for more. Thank you so much, everybody. Till next time. Tell your friends, tell your friends.